Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of Ribs, Real Estate, and Ramblings with me, Roy May, your host with Bach Realty Group, coming to you as always from Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue in Aggie Lane. It's right off the bypass, again, every episode I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face and you're sick of me hearing it, or you're sick of hearing it from me. But it's a fantastic place. If you come in town, and you want some barbecue, be sure to make this one of your stops. Owned by fantastic people, great food. So make sure you stop by Cooper's. Today, speaking of kind of the food industry and all that good stuff, I have with me Aaron Kurz, who is a proprietor and owner of a handful of establishments around town. And he's also my client on the real estate side. So that's actually how we initially met. But he owns, and hoping, like we said, we hope it's still there, the Tipsy Turtle. Yeah, we hope that's still there. Paddock Lane, Proudest Monkey, and All the King's Men. So you have 4 establishments around town. And the first thing I really want to ask is, what was the motivation behind the kind of the diversity of those 4 places? Because you think, like, I mean, outside of kind of having booze, there's really not a really central point that all of them are, well, I mean, minus you, you're also a central point.
Right.
So, and what order did they go in?
So we opened Paddock Lane in 2006.
Okay.
We've rebranded it to the incredibly creative Paddock. So we just dropped the lane.
I know. Think tank.
We paid a lot of money. We got a firm out of New York. It was a huge process.
For them to delete.
And so we took the lane and the period off, and we made it a little bit more fun. But that one opened in 2006. Tipsy Turtle opened in 2009. Proudest Monkey in 2012. All the King's Men at the very end of 2018. Or no, 2017, I think.
And so the Tipsy Turtle is up in Northgate, which if you're not aware, although generally if you're watching this and you know anything about the Brazos Valley, Northgate is kind of the bar district for College Station. And so you started with Paddock.
Correct.
Paddock Lane at the time.
Correct.
Are we still allowed to say that, or is that copyrighted by somebody else now?
No, you can. We still got the website too, if you want to.
It'll
redirect you to GoDaddy potentially, but you know.
So you start Paddock, and Paddock, from Paddock to Tipsy Turtle, what's the thinking in that? Because they're not. What's kind of the segue?
So we got super lucky because Tipsy Turtle is right next door to Paddock. And it was a tiny little tattoo shop at the time. When we first opened Paddock, it was a military recruiting office. And really, honestly, the first 3 years of Paddock were pretty terrible. Fortunately, my wife had a job at A&M, so it kind of kept us afloat. But it was basically 3 years of realizing that what I liked didn't matter. But it took me a long time to kind of get out of my own way. So really, if it wasn't for that little spot, we probably wouldn't have ever had the Monkey or All the King's Men, because it was small enough that the rent wouldn't be a ton if we bombed it.
Right.
And it was right next door. So at that time, no kids. I'm up there almost every night. It's easy to kind of manage too.
Right. You got your hands in it.
And then the thinking on Tipsy Turtle was like, okay, well, I clearly suck at this, so let's just do the opposite of what we just did, which let's have a fun name, let's see what the actual demographic we cater to likes, let's maybe do that, let's put fun colors, let's put daiquiri machines and neons, and no more like Coldplay or Rage Against the Machine at midnight while I'm drinking my hipster IPA. So we went the opposite direction. And shockingly, it worked really, really well. So that was kind of the birth of like, oh, wow, I'm kind of not good at this, but let's just figure out who our customer is and do whatever they want, So then we ended up moving out of the Monkey in 12 because Northgate, even now, 10 times worse. but property was just really expensive. So,
Oh, gosh.
so the dream was to own the building that we had on Northgate, and unfortunately that dream's probably not going to happen. But we started looking at downtown Bryan of this is maybe a little bit before it really hits, but we can get we got a dilapidated building with the ceiling caving in. I remember taking staff and our managers at the time to walk through it, and I was like giddy, like we bought this building. It's $90,000, which the people selling it thought they like ripped us off, and we thought we got the best deal ever.
Everybody was happy.
I know, and then but our managers like they took it looked like someone stole their puppy, and then later one of the managers was like, we were kind of worried about you because like that building was in really bad shape. So, but it got us a building, and I thought, okay, I can put a business in here, and the thinking was put a business in here to pay off the building, and then downtown will grow around it, and eventually it'll be worth it.
Well, the revitalization of Bryan has obviously been huge for the success that you're experiencing down with.
Sure.
Obviously with Proudest Monkey, and then all the Kings of Men, and we'll kind of get to that in a little bit. And this is something I don't always like to ask because I know it's so tough. But what was, when you were going through COVID, what was really, when you got things back up and running, what was your main focus? Because things opened back up, but there were still restrictions. So,
right.
So what did you have to lean into to get everything through? Because I feel like, obviously your best margins are alcohol, right? Alcohol
Sure.
and drinks, way more than food. Food margins suck. Just relative to alcohol margins, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you leaning into the most to get everything just really recycled and back up and spinning?
Well, fortunately, for Northgate, the kids, which I guess you're old when you're calling them kids. It's just
they are kids.
The young adults that have way more hair than me were receptive to just saying screw it a lot quicker. So the fact that we had 2 bars helped basically bankroll the stability to get the restaurants back.
Right.
Because during COVID, even with the takeout drinks, and you just don't sell alcohol unless people are loitering in the business.
Basically.
So
when they have nowhere
so
else
when
to go.
when we're like limited seating and takeout, and it's food, and we might sell a drink every once in a while, you're just not making any money.
Right.
So very quickly, when COVID hit, probably like June of 2020, we realized, Steph and I like kind of had this realization that lots of people had, but lots of people also didn't have, that this was not going to go back to normal in like 2 months.
Right.
So we kind of zenned out a little bit that like as long as we're alive and our kids are alive, then and we're happy and we're laughing, then we built it from nothing. We can do it again. So our goal very quickly was like, let's just get out of COVID still with 4 businesses.
Okay.
And then
survive in advance.
Right. And so fortunately for us, 3 out of the 4 have really recovered pretty quickly and done pretty well. And but yeah, man, wasn't that a crazy period of time? It was nuts.
It was absolutely insane. And what's funny, when you brought that up, it got me to thinking about the bars being the one that can bankroll stuff. Think about, when things did start to open back up, the college kids were given the option to go back to class or do online. So now you have a ton of kids who have a lease, so they're not moving back home with mom and dad. Mm-hmm. And all they're doing is online classes, which honestly, the accountability was kind of garbage. So they're kind of doing online classes. All they have time to do is drink.
Yeah, it was less peak days.
But more of a steady.
But the slow days were not as slow.
Were better.
They were like medium, So even in COVID, it's not like we had record sales,
right.
But it was enough that Thursday for Northgate specifically is a barometer day. It's like kind of tells you what the weekend might be like, because Thursday is not busy, but it's busier. And so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they all turned into Thursdays, So it was just like medium busy all the time.
But it was nice.
So it was great, yeah. But COVID, that's how I met you, is COVID, we ended up with all these brands thinking originally that we needed to diversify locally. You know, our ceiling mentally was BCS. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's kind of like anything as you grow with the business or through life, your ceiling could stay the same. But a lot of times you think, oh, man, if we could ever just get to there. And then you get there and you think, oh, wow, well, let's go even further. Right. So we never thought about expanding out of town. Now we kind of have those thoughts. But we realized really quickly with COVID that we thought we were diversifying, mm-hmm. but we were 4 businesses in the same category.
Right.
So that's when we started, like, okay, we need to maybe look at properties. You know, we had, like I mentioned before, obviously you want to try to own the building you have a business in, because you can double, triple dip. But then we started looking out more into, do we do, you know, college rental properties? Do we start looking at ways that we can
diversify outside of basically the food industry?
I can start leaning more into the construction industry, the remodel industry, since I've done that with all the businesses anyways.
Right.
So
I mean, you have the experience, and yeah. We're gonna change a little bit here.
Sure.
So you are a traveling baseball dad.
Oh yeah. All right. Yes.
And your son, now he plays for 12, right?
Correct.
And so 12, and you actually have a position within 12, right?
Sort of, yeah, I'm like the...
You're like the booking coordinator?
I'm like the assistant coach, but I'm not allowed to say that I'm a coach. But they want me to help coach, but I'm not a coach. So, Mark, if you're watching this, I don't claim to be a coach. I'm just the GM, and I'm there to help the coach.
So for those of y'all that don't know, even if you know the Brazos Valley, you may not know this. Just kind of briefly explain what 12 is, because people do understand like the traveling baseball, but explain relative to the community, because I know there are different tiers and kind of different programs. So what is 12?
So 12, the Bennett's started 12 in the early 2000s. I don't know the exact history of years and all that. I think he was coaching his son, mm-hmm. and then he grew that. He's a professor at A&M, so I think he made it kind of like a class project to see a business model. That's just like what I've heard. And so anyways, it's grown, and now they have locations in Katy and the Woodlands and San Antonio and South Texas. And maybe Tyler, I'm not sure. But
East Texas would be a good
But
place
it's, you know, Houston's one of the top cities for travel baseball. And
we're right up the road.
To be outside of Houston, but to be able to dip into Houston is pretty huge for this area.
Right, and I know, so like Ryan Broninger that works at Texags, mm-hmm. I think
he's super involved.
I think it was both Nuno and Olin and OB that made fun of him. I don't know. Bronny gets a lot of brunt of the jokes. I don't know why I love Bronny, but I know Bronny's big into 12, mm-hmm. and Bronny also covers recruiting, but recruiting for baseball. And you see these kids, and he'll mention like, "Hey, this is a product of the 12 Academy, and this kid was this." And so he has such a great insight because he sees these kids literally growing up through the program, and then they're like recruits that he's covering. And so it's easy for me to see because I'm not a recruiting junkie, but I keep up with it, and to be able to see all the names of these kids that come out of 12. So I would have guessed, like you were saying, maybe that's a product of being this close to Houston.
Yeah, well, it's a product of the group. They put a lot of, you can tell everyone that's heavily involved in 12, not us as GMs and coaches, but the people that work for 12,
right?
You can just see the passion. It's like this is what they want to do in life,
right?
And if they don't, then they fake it phenomenally well. So, but it's great for the kids. They feel like they're a part of this thing that's really cool and important. And
well, it feels like it's the passion and the organization.
Sure.
It's not just thrown together.
It's super organized, and that's what we try to explain to parents sometimes. We're not now at 11U, so everyone that's here is pretty much, if they didn't like it, they've gone already. But when we were 8U, 9U, 10U, as the GM role, you kind of try to be the firewall between the coach and the parents. So you get a lot of the complaints, and you try to walk them off the ledge.
That's fun.
I know. I need a GM for myself, though. I'm like,
Say,
Kai, what are we doing there? Get their elbow up. And then I'm like, wait. No. He's a kid. I'm supposed to leave him alone. And then I'd go talk to a parent, and I'm like, you got to let him grow, man.
Well, and as a whole, and I hate to really generalize, but it's true, sports parents tend to be completely rational and in no ways abnormal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, they never talk.
Well, Mark, I've known Mark since high school, but he's the local youth director for 12 here, him and Zach. But he asked me when at 9U, do you want to be the GM? And he explained what it was. And I think he thought I was joking, but I said, okay, so I can yell at Kai out on the field, and then I look like a coach, not a crazy dad. And he's like, yeah, kind of. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, this works for me.
Yeah, so I'm either going to be crazy out there or look like a coach out here, so, you know. But, yeah.
It's all about perception.
Yeah, travel sports, man, it's ridiculous. It's
insane.
I know. When I was in high school, we just started hearing about AAU basketball, I think my sophomore year, and it was just
and what it's turned into
a
now, and
yeah,
it's nuts. So
okay,
so we're going to get into this is where I'm going to kind of just give you the floor.
Oh yeah,
because for people, I'm not really going to ask you a question. I'm just going to kind of like pull the cord and let the mower go, kind of thing.
Okay,
but for those, well, let's do this real quick, as kind of just as briefly as you can. Explain Proudest Monkey and all the Kingsmen and what they are kind of right now. Like
sure.
Just menu kind of feel this is that. And they're literally they share a wall.
So they almost share a wall.
Well,
they share a Queen Theater. But
there you go.
The Proudest Monkey is a burger and a taco place in downtown Bryan.
Tacos are unbelievable.
We thought we were doing a bar, and then we were just going to do a couple burgers and tacos. And we thought, well, if we're going to do them, let's try to do them well. And
that's a reasonable.
We didn't want like all the pre-frozen stuff, so the sauces were scratch, sides were scratch, everything was scratch. And then, because I'm really good at adjusting. So Paddock took me 3 years, and the Monkey took me like 2 years. And Kai had just been born right as the Monkey was open. Oof. And we moved houses, so
really nothing going on.
And the closing was delayed like 2.5 months. Fortunately, they didn't boot us. We had to pay them enough, but so I had ripped out like 3 rooms because we were going to remodel it before we moved in. So we're like, just opened a business, just had a kid. We're living in a 1-bedroom apartment in this house, and then I'm going downtown to help out. I'm like, why don't these people realize we're not a restaurant? Like, I need them to help me right now. I can't handle this. And then, of course, 2 years later, I was like, wait, no, we're just the world's worst laid out restaurant. We're not a bar. Like, I gotta change the way I'm thinking about it. So. So the Monkey, come to the Monkey. We're the worst laid out restaurant in America, but we got great tacos.
Is there a plaque on the wall? I feel like there should be a
plaque
on the wall.
No, but we probably
I'm going to get it a plaque.
I'm going to get like a neon LED.
Put it in the front window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
It's like an elf. Like, it's the world's best cup of coffee. Like, congratulations, you did it.
Yeah. And then we'll put but our tacos are good. Right at the bottom.
However, if you will. Yes.
And so all the Kingsmen is on the other side of the Queen Theater, and it's a barbecue place. And so in about 2013, we had a manager named Jake. He's the owner of RX Pizza. He worked for us for a while. And I get off an airplane, you have no reception whatsoever. And on the plane, I sometimes I just want to fly because it's like going on a cruise, like everything's shut off. Well, now you can turn everything on, and I just come up with ideas, and it was a really good incubator period, So anyways, I get off this flight.
It seems like an expensive thing.
And I'm texting Jake. Yes, it's very expensive, but not as expensive as our New York marketing firm that took Lane and period off of Paddock Lane. So
brilliant.
And that we didn't really do that, just FYI. But I'm texting him like, hey, bourbon, beer, and barbecue, we got to do it. It's like the best concept ever. It's like going to work, And then years later, we try to do this. And it did well actually before COVID hit. Second year doubled first year sales. We had gotten good write-ups in Texas Monthly and Southern Living, but we just never recovered out of COVID. So there's a multitude of reasons, and half of them are our fault, if not more.
Oh yeah, no, I fully understand what you're saying there.
But we're out now. It's not an excuse. Monkey is thriving. So we know that it's not like we're waiting on people to come back downtown.
It is what it is.
So that's where we're going to switch the brand up.
So here is the announcement. You're going to rebrand all the King's Men. What's it going to be?
It's going to be Teppy's Taphouse. So we're going to keep barbecue, kind of change it up a little bit. We'll keep the pork belly. I've had people threaten to do harm to me if we get rid of that, so we're going to have to keep it.
We'll keep it on the menu.
But we're going to do street tacos and wings and chicken tender. We already have chicken tenders and wings and hot chicken and fried chicken sandwiches and nachos. And so we're going a little bit, we're leaning more into pub type food.
Taphouse brew pub kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and so we were going to just call it Teppy's Hot Chicken at first, but then specific to that location, we want Taphouse because we spend a lot of money on that 32 tap tower. So we want people walking by to instantly know that alcohol is also an option, instead of having to figure that out. So if we grew that brand and had multiple locations, then yeah, maybe we drop the Taphouse. If it becomes more like a drive-through or a restaurant, we streamline the menu. So we're trying to think of long-term and location-specific.
And this is the logo.
And this is half of the logo. So we're going to do a lot of branding. The monkey is cool. All the Kingsmen is not cool. The monkey's fun, and all the Kingsmen is stuffy and boring. So we're in the process of livening up the space, the physical space. And we're rebranding, getting a fun little logo. The front of the house at both places are now going to work at both places. So we're doing a ton of dual branding.
Right.
So that we can expose, more than likely all the Kingsmen customers know about the monkey, but maybe they don't. But monkey customers either they don't know about all the Kingsmen, or through their action of inaction, they are saying they don't like it, which is cool. I'm fine with that. But we need to give them something that they're
going to like.
So the hope
is
is
like
that,
a recurring lesson.
Yeah, I know. It's really, if Steph was in charge, we'd just be killing it all the time. But she just sits there and lets me fall on my face all the time. And geez, how did I luck out with her?
Well,
anyways, I could go ramble about that one too for a while. But yeah, so we're excited. We think it's a fun brand.
Time frame?
We are right now in this kind of, we're not going to close down for an extended period of time for a multitude of reasons. One is we aren't that busy right now, so it's a perfect time to introduce new menu items, a new menu item every 2 weeks. It gets the staff comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So rather than closing and then saying, hey, here's 24 new things to do. So we're working through some of the kinks kind of passively as we're open. But more than anything, we don't want to have to lay anyone off.
Right.
So if we can just spin our wheels long enough to get the new brand open, make it so that it doesn't put a hardship on them, then it's a win-win, I feel like, for everyone. So the goal is by mid to late January, we will be 100% Teppy's Taphouse.
Okay.
And
soon.
So we're introducing like candy cocktails and frozen margaritas, and we're adding a little back patio area. So it should be a completely different
vibe.
But if you like the brisket, if you like the pork belly, if you like the ribs,
There'll still be a small section on the menu for
you
it.
can still order that. But we'll be adding like sliders. A lot of that barbecue meat will also be
distributed around the menu a little bit.
Offered in a multitude of packages.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, and what's funny about all the Kingsmen is, and I remember the write-ups, and I remember kind of opening, and I remember hearing the phrase kind of craft barbecue. That was really how I had it introduced to me. And I mean, I thought the food was good, but it's interesting Because I've been there. We do what we want to when we open up a restaurant, and then we realize that we should stop doing what we want to do, and we should really do what the people that give us money want.
Yeah. And barbecue's fun, but
it's tough.
But it can also be not fun sometimes. I'm
Barbecue
going to leave it at that. But
it's super subjective.
Yes, and it can be. Can be. It is very volatile price point wise.
Yes.
And so the customer, and this doesn't, not us, this is any barbecue place. The customer doesn't want volatility. They don't want the menu changing all the time. So you either have to price way too high to account for the fluctuations, or you have to change all the time. And people just don't like change.
People do not like change. No, that is absolutely, and especially in Aggie Land, Aggies do not like change whatsoever. We fear change. Okay, so I'm gonna go and wrap this up I got a final question to ask all my guests, and then I'm gonna give you a little bit of time if you want to look in the camera. Anything you guys got coming up at your restaurants or bars, or any kind of promotions or specials, kind of let you fire away. But I know for a fact that you'll be one of my guests that will actually have an answer for this. So you're at your house.
What is this question? Are y'all supposed to not be here? What is this question?
It's nice to know my guests watch my show. So you're at your house, you're having some dignitaries or maybe just somebody you need to impress come over, and you got to make ribs, because remember, ribs, real estate ramblings, right? So, what's your process? How are you going about doing your ribs? And if there's any part of it that's secret to you, fire away. But how are you doing your ribs?
I'm the least secret person possible. We're just going to season it, and then I'm going to foil it, and I'll baste it with barbecue sauce, and then about halfway through, I'll put some more on there. I like them like not the right way. So I like my ribs like Chili's makes them, which was the greatest marketing ever, to convince everyone that you should eat ribs really overdone.
Yes.
And so they don't have to care about timing it, It's like, wow, thank you for ripping that Band-Aid off for us, But I want to take a bite and get the entire, I want to get the whole side off.
Like a cartoon, just
and I know that's not the right way, and I know that's terrible and sacrilegious,
it's not sacrilegious.
But I just don't care.
That's how I am. In competition barbecue, they say you got to have a little bit of pull, and I'm like, this is a competition barbecue. These are my ribs.
But we'll use our barbecue sauce, which is one of the things that I do like. That sauce, we made that sauce based on what I liked, and fortunately, it worked. It is a little bit more vinegary, so I like that. I don't like it super thick and sweet and KC style sauce on it. You could do, I'll dig a dry rub rib, but I'm saucy, so.
I think I spent a half.
That might be a shirt opportunity. Oh, you're not there. That might be a shirt opportunity. So, I'm saucy. Come eat my ribs. Wait, we're going. Are we done? Is this the end?
Not yet.
Okay.
Come have my ribs. They're just like Chili's.
Yeah, but no, I don't there's no I
don't think there's a wrong way to do ribs outside of burning them. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, man, if you burn them, then geez, you stuck them on there forever.
It's hard unless you forgot about them, basically, kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, so
but I just go low, man, like 250, 275.
There you go.
So
low and slow.
I'd rather sit there and finish a 6-pack than get a beer after a glass of wine.
Oh well, yeah, and that's some people can gauge their how long the barbecue's out. Well, I've had 3 beers, so it's time to flip my ribs. Yeah. So I'll give you a quick opportunity if you got anything you want to say coming up for any of your restaurants or anything. You got any promotions coming up, anything going on. But I think really the biggest thing is just the rebrand.
Yeah, no, come check us out in January. Check us out tomorrow as we slowly rebrand. But maybe the next day we'll have something new too. So come every day, I think, is a good idea. Except for Monday, because us and Fuego's are closed. Well, we're closed in honor of Fuego's being closed. So. But if you want to see the whole show, come in January. My birthday's in January, so just come celebrate. I won't be there, probably, but in my honor, my birth, honor it and come.
Hey, come see the whole new menu roll out.
We can retake that if you want.
Oh, no.
I could make that into 2 sentences.
No, I like the run on.
No?
It's perfect.
Okay, all right.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up, Aaron. Appreciate. I love getting to know you. And,
for sure.
Both as a friend and a client. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Ribs Real Estate and Ramblings, coming to you like always from Cooper's and Aggieland, right off the bypass. And so that's about it for today. So thanks so much, and we'll see you all next time.